This video is for all targeted individuals and victims of Monarch Mind Control, MK Ultra Project, Project Monarch, and Monarch celebrities that are victims. This is for anybody, especially if you were victimized since childhood on. We want you to come forward and share your experiences, your testimonies, so that we can put them together and irrefutably prove what took place, right? And I'm going to start by giving you my experience, my testimony, a short version. See, this targeted program takes advantage of children from childhood on. And they basically gaslight these kids, they torture and traumatize these kids, and whether or not they're using these brain technologies or whether or not they're, using some other kind of technology to do this is, not the point. Because we are aware that they're able to access the person's thoughts from a distance, manipulate the thoughts, manipulate the beliefs, manipulate the perspectives, and even use those thoughts, manipulating them, children are very easy to manipulate. Use those thoughts to change and alter their perspectives and their beliefs about what took place in their lives to traumatize them and victimize them more. Now, we know that this trauma and fear-based mind control, this Monarch programming, is done intentionally to fracture or split the mind of the victim, which gets them to dissociate and actually causes often a droopy eye or ptosis. Now, what we need to do is we need to get all the victims together. We need to absolutely give our testimonies about what's happened, how we've been victimized, the things that have taken place. But before you do that, I want to help you become more aware of what might have happened to you. Because it took me years and all of these scumbags doing what they're doing to really help me piece it together. See, they do fear and trauma-based mind control to split the mind. We know that. But what they're doing is they're fracturing the mind so that they can hypnotically program with conversational hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and, like I said, altering the thoughts, the beliefs, the perspectives of the victim to traumatize them more. And this enables them to program alternate personalities or dissociative identity disorder that they can take advantage of, or they can trigger at any time and get the person to associate or assume a different version of themselves. Now, we already know this is real, and we're going to prove that this is real. And we want those that have their kids that have already been taken from the state, whether it's, Child and Family Services or whatever they're called, we want them to be aware of this stuff. And we want childhood victims to speak out and say how they were traumatized or sexually abused, how, they were over-sexualized, they had a lot of sexual experiences from childhood on that weren't normal, that were questionable, and put the pieces together and realize that they're probably victims as well. So what you need to know is that, children aren't the only victims. They victimize women, adult women, and obviously they're victimizing men too. And they're corrupting to control, perverting to possess, and they're able to manipulate these children and sexually take advantage of them from a distance, as well as adults, sexually take advantage of them from a distance, program them with alters. They do this for sex trafficking. They do this to create spies and secret agents where they have fractioned identities, where they don't know who they are when they get captured, so they can't talk if they get interrogated. And for the sex trafficking, they assume another identity. They don't know who they had sex with. They don't know what happened. A lot of celebrities have gone through this. You can see Britney Spears with the pink wig and all this cheetah print, this sex kitten programming, the beta programming. You can see a video about that on my timeline. All right, we need people to come forward, because when one person comes out and talks about these things, it's a little far-fetched to many people. It's iffy. They don't know if they're going to believe you. But when multiple people come out and say that the same exact kind of things happen to them, and that they're also targeted by these programs, this mind control operation going on, basically MK Ultra 2.0, COINTEL 2.0, and Pedogate 2.0, or Pizzagate, whatever, that's what's going on here. So it's not until you get enough people together and share the same similar experiences where people will start to open their eyes and really begin to be able to believe what has taken place so they can protect themselves and their families, their kids, so that this kind of shit doesn't continue to happen. And so that we can get together and do a class action lawsuit and sue these fuckers for as much money that we can possibly sue them for, or, get them killed for their crimes against humanity. There's disgusting, filthy crimes, right, that they're getting away with every day by framing us and labeling us, blaming us for the things that they have done in our lives, right? Trying to make people believe that they're being investigated, or that they're the FBI, or that they're, the NSA, or, they're the military, or they're their neighbors, their friends, their coworkers, or their ex-significant others, their ex-bosses. This is all counterintelligence. This is gaslighting to get the victims to speak out and go against people that not even involved, right? To make themselves sound crazy. That's what this is for. So when they're doing all this stuff to you, they want you to speak out and sound crazy. That's why they're doing it. It's an intention. It's a psychological operation, right? So let me tell you what I experienced as a child. I was set up to be taken out of, first of all, I was messed with in my head. I got paperwork to prove it from when I was 6 years old, all right? They were screwing with my head. They were making me afraid. They were traumatizing me. They would use different things going on and alter my perspective of it to make it more scary and traumatizing, like the news, like, stuff going on in my life. For some reason, things were moving around on my bureau. Things were happening that didn't make sense to me as a kid. And now that I'm an adult and I did the research in the Monarch program in trauma and fear-based mind control, the alternate, identity programming, and all this stuff going on. And you can learn about this in the Illuminati formula to create a total undetectable mind control slave. You can get that for free. It's a PDF all over the internet. And what we need to do is we need to get people to come forward and share this kind of experience. But I'm going to tell you right now that I was assaulted, molested as a child from a distance with these brain technologies. I was traumatized. I was dissociated. I was taken out of my home with my family and set up, framed for some bullshit that they were doing. And, I was taken into state custody and put into a children's hospital where more assault and abuse was going on in there, where there were sexual things going on between me and other kids that I didn't understand, and just, in the weirdest ways where it's beyond coincidence what was going on. That they were screwing with kids' heads. They were getting them to think about doing stuff and do stuff that they normally wouldn't do. And it's just sick. It's disgusting to think about now, to know that, these kind of things have been taking place and that they do take place. And, they're able to affect anybody. Anybody's beliefs, anybody's thoughts, anybody's perspectives on, and reframe, de-pattern, repattern, and make them believe that different things occurred than what they did. And this is to cover up their crimes. So we need people to come forward and talk about what's going on here, right? Because I know I'm not the only one who had their life ruined by this, right? Who was harassed all through childhood, all through the teenage years, where, they basically got people to believe and think bad things about me. They spread rumors about me, or they got other people to, it's just horrible. It's heinous shit that was going on. And it's not until you understand about this program, more about it, until you can put the pieces together and see that you're a victim. And all this counterintelligence going on, them making you believe that, you're being investigated or that you did something wrong, is just to victimize you more. So you blame yourself, or, so you're constantly trying to defend yourself against them and call them out and expose them. And they really don't care, I promise you. They are pure evil. Right? I've gone back and forth with these scumbags. I've caught them irrefutably in their crimes. And all they do is threaten to, fuck with me in my sleep, to torture me in my sleep. I got a really sick, scary dream last night where I was I was surrounded, and, they were all looking at me kind of happy, like they were friendly, and all of a sudden it got really dark, and they looked like fucking vampires, or like demons, and they were like looked like they were going to rip me apart. And they were trying to scare. This was a fear-mongering tactic because of the video that I made yesterday exposing this whole thing. And the other videos that I made before. So, this is real deal, people. We need you to come forward. We need people to, give their experiences, to share their testimonies, to talk about, the tough things. And, if you don't want to make a live video, please make a short video or a long video and send it to me. And it'll be private. And with your permission, I'll take just bits and segments of it. I want to take all the different experiences. And if something happens to me, people, I want somebody else to do this. All right? I want you to take all the experiences if something happens to me. And everything that someone says that's similar, I want you to take back to back. Take little clips of everybody's videos, of everybody's testimonies. And whenever they say something that's similar, you put it all, like, back to back. One person saying the same thing, the next person saying the same thing, the next person saying the same thing, and you work your way up in order, and each and every individual thing that people have experienced, where they were victimized, where they were assaulted, where it was attempted to be covered up, where they were, slandered, harassed, ridiculed, traumatized, whatever. We want to take it all, put as many people together as possible that said the same exact things, and create a video where it's all word for word or as close as possible, the same exact things, one thing after another, after another, after another, to irrefutably prove these things are taking place still to this day, so that we have more credibility, so that we can use these testimonies, because we're victims, we're witnesses to these crimes, to get justice. And until we do something like that, we're not going to get any justice, most likely. Right? So we could take all of the testimonies and videos and documentaries and exposés that we've already made, and then we could top it all off, the cherry on top, with the victim's testimonies, where everyone is saying the same similar experiences that happened. And we're not going to set this up like that. We're going to let people say what they really experienced. Right? I'm not even going to say any more about my experiences. But I want you to watch my previous video about this stuff, and it'll open your mind up to what's taken place, and it will help you put the pieces together and realize if you are a victim or not, more than you already think you are. So please do this. Please join us. And like I said, if anything happens to me, make this happen anyways. And I promise you, you could start a lawsuit that would be too much money for them to even afford. And the funny thing is, we know the financial system is corrupt and fraud. That the money is actually backed by debt and doesn't hold value. So what we can do is tell them that we don't want cash as payment. We want real money. We want gold. We want silver. Or we want their fucking lives as payment. We want them in jail. We want them executed for their capital crimes against humanity. And us being federal witnesses, or should have been made federal witnesses, right? They're claiming to be the FBI, working with the FBI guys to some of us. So if that's the case, then they're not really investigating these victims, right? And that's negligence. That's a crime in of itself. And obviously the crimes that they're helping to cover up and not exposing or not investigating, they're technically guilty, if not, of just association with these crimes. And that being said, we should all be federal witnesses, because we experience a plethora of crimes against humanity: terrorism, rape, molestation, human trafficking, damage of property, corruption of the morals, violation of human and constitutional rights, and more. So this is treason, it's terrorism, it's all these different things that I just said, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to come into people's awareness, first of all, so that they know what's going on, because most people have no clue. They don't even know. And we need to put these pieces together. So once that's done, we could demand justice. We could send it out. It would be a very powerful video at that point, and it will wake up people. And, we can start going after the scumbags that have been, knowingly or unknowingly allowing these things to happen, especially Child and Family Services. removing kids from their homes and putting them in positions where they can be assaulted from a distance with no investigation done. Right? So all these victims, us being federal witnesses or should be federal witnesses, or us being witnesses in general of these crimes, them trying to perform menticide in our brains from a distance and hypnotically program us with neurolinguistic programming and conversational hypnosis, that is them tampering with evidence. And that is a capital crime in of itself, worthy of capital punishment, which is death. So please, come forward, so we can get these fuckers taken down, once and for all. Or at least expose it so everybody else knows the real truth, so that they can't continue to get away with lying and deceiving and victimizing kids, teenagers, and adults. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being involved.